Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm AmandaMuse, and today we're going to be having another video talking about Malaysia. I'm so excited to share this video with you today, but before we jump into it, I want to mention a few things. The first is that if you're new and if this is your first video, you should totally subscribe. I put out videos 4 times a week. If you click the I or some links below, you're going to see other videos that I've shared recently talking about Malaysia, and I'll also share a playlist about my life when I used to live in Malaysia. So I lived in Malaysia for 4.5 years. I had both of my kids in Malaysia while living in Penang. So much to share, so much to talk about. We're gonna get to that, but first, today I'm gonna be reacting to a video created by the channel Other Side of the Truth, and this video came out about a month ago, and it's talking about the steps that Malaysia took to just shut coronavirus and COVID-19 down. Now, I live in Canada. I'm currently living in Ontario, and I wanted to share a couple of stats with you guys just so you can get a picture for life in Canada versus life in Malaysia, just some ballpark numbers. The first thing to mention is that Canada is approximately 30 times bigger than Malaysia. As of 2018, Malaysia was documenting about 31.53 million people living in their country. And in Canada, as of 2019, we have 37.59 million people. As of June 15th, Malaysia is documenting about 41 new cases. And if you look at their numbers, they've definitely spiked, but this is not the lowest they've been, but it is still a really low number. As of June 14th in Canada, we have 377 new cases documented, which to be fair is actually quite a low number for us, but you can see the discrepancy. At the end of the video, I'm going to share with you some things that we're doing as a family to try and prevent the spread of coronavirus. So stay tuned, but right now, let's watch the video.
This is a story about a country in Southeast Asia that often doesn't get much attention. Malaysia. In March, Malaysia was failing. Newspapers published articles about how Malaysia was struggling against COVID-19. Malaysia had 3 times more cases than any country in Southeast Asia. The virus was in every state and federal territory. What makes the story even more sad is how the infection spread. Not from Malaysians partying or being badly behaved. It spread from a religious gathering. Malaysians, being well-behaved citizens, had unknowingly spread COVID-19.
Oh my goodness, go figure. I am by no means an expert in Malaysian culture, but religion is very important, and so I can imagine being in close proximity, whether it's in a mosque or a temple or a church. I mean, this is how viruses spread, and like you said, it wasn't like people were partying on the beach. They were literally in prayer. So that's something, isn't it? It's a different perspective entirely.
But here is where the story gets interesting. Malaysia's government quickly made adjustments. Movement Control Order, or MCO, roadblocks, closed events, closed schools, closed non-essential businesses. Malaysia would do MCO 2.0 or the Enhanced Movement Control Order.
I have been wanting to learn more about the MCO and the Enhanced Movement Control Order. A lot of you guys have been sharing with me in the comments on my last videos.
Where there were several cases, all businesses were closed, roads all blocked. No one in or out. No one could leave their homes. But don't worry, food and medical care were provided. And Malaysia's case numbers, they started to drop.
So here's the thing. This is where it's like therein lies the problem. In Canada, there isn't... It's just, you know, having lived in Malaysia versus having lived here in Canada and been, you know, born here and grew up here, there's something that like people don't love to be told what to do. I just don't think people want to be told what to do ever. But when it comes to like you're not allowed to leave your home, I just don't know that that would have worked here, to be honest. Even in Canada, we weren't allowed to leave our homes. If you had any indication of having the virus, you had to stay home, you could be fined. But the fact is like I was still walking my dog. I could still go and be out in public. coming back to Canada being a very big country, I didn't really bump into anybody. If I saw somebody, I could cross the street. So there was a lot more space. So I think in that sense, I can appreciate how we didn't have to be confined to our homes all day long. You can walk around and actually not see anybody, especially where I live in the suburbs. I live outside of the city of Toronto. But when you've got condos and high rises, I mean, I think this is why you're seeing really high numbers in concentrated cities like Toronto, like New York City, right?
On April 14th, the Philippines passed Malaysia in COVID-19 cases. The next day, Indonesia. 2 days later, Singapore. Singapore is a much smaller country with a population 5 times smaller. Singapore now has 15 times the case rate of Malaysia.
Wow, that's wild that they were able to that drastically be able to drop numbers.
Malaysia is an example that we can all overcome this. How a country that had so many cases did the right stuff to stop the spread, and almost no media is talking about it. Even myself, I am guilty of this. I made a video of the top 15 countries fighting COVID-19, and Malaysia wasn't included. But luckily, one of my Malaysian followers pointed out Malaysia's story. Malaysia's COVID-19 numbers are good, but when you realize at one point they were 3 times worse than any country in Southeast Asia, and now they're one of the best, it's an incredible story that needs to be told. So I ask you to help.
And I wonder if there's a certain degree of, you don't want to compare countries to each other, but I do think that at some point, if you really can't seem to get the numbers down, I don't think there's any shame to look to other countries to see what they've been doing right and try to mimic those things, I mean, it's all for the greater good here. And to be fair with what he's talking about, I think that sometimes the world can be a little siloed, right? Like tunnel vision as to the type of news that they want to read about or hear about. And when I was living in Malaysia, I remember that it was only when things that were really bad happened did my family members back in Canada have any indication of anything happening in Malaysia. And even then, sometimes news can spin things. I remember there was some sort of protesting happening, and I mean, I didn't hear anything about it. I didn't see anything about it, but the way that the news portrayed it, it was like this big deal. And I remember my mom being so worried. I was pregnant at the time. It was totally fine. I mean, there was nothing to worry about. I think I was probably like in Georgetown having a coffee. But, driving my car on the other side of the road. Oh, you guys, I have stories for you about my life in Malaysia. But this is the thing. I mean, if you don't hear much about a country, you may not realize the important work that they're doing. And I love that he's sharing the story because, first of all, I've been able to share with my audience what's happening in Malaysia, which I love because I hold Malaysia so near and dear to my heart. And they're doing such good things. Like their numbers today, 41. We have the same population in Canada and our numbers are still that much higher. That's wild that they've been able to keep it so under control.
Me, let the world know Malaysia's story.
Wow. Here's the thing. Bottom line is we should all be learning from countries like Malaysia who've been able to drop those numbers. There are a lot of people who are naysayers saying this isn't real or there's some conspiracy around it. I get it. None of us want to be told what to do. This has never happened in my lifetime where we've actually been contained to our homes and advised not to leave. I've ordered some masks for myself and the kids, the cloth type of masks, and then I have the inserts that we can wear in there because I, probably like many people, am starting to feel a little like I'm losing touch of reality here because I've been stuck in my home for so long. And I do feel like I want to go out and go to the store or just go for a walk and be around more people. I definitely think we need to look to countries like Malaysia to get wonderful examples of how countries have been doing it right. And not only that, all of the things that they've done to care for their citizens. And I know that this particular channel did another video talking about how Malaysia did the impossible and listed out all these different things. And one of the things I don't think he mentioned was like the free data. So you guys are at home, and you're kind of bored because it's boring stuck at home. So everyone had more internet. Astro TV provided like more channels to everybody so they could be entertained while they're at home. They took care of their food. They granted them, leeway on loans and things. Like, that is how you do it. But when you have people who don't know how they're going to put dinner on the table and can't leave their house to work, things get murky. So it's interesting times. I also wanted to take a moment to say hello to all of the wonderful new faces that are here on my channel. I'm so glad you're here. I'm excited to get to know you, and I want you guys to get to know me a little better. So I was wondering if maybe you wanted me to put together a little video. I could have my husband partake. We could sit down. We could talk about our life in Malaysia. We have talked about these things over the years, but we haven't done it recently, and we haven't done it from a perspective of first impressions and things we miss about Malaysia and how it changed us over the years that we spent there. So if you would like to know a little bit more about my life in Malaysia or about me in general, please leave your questions below, and I'm going to address those in another video next week because we got to get to know each other a little bit better. I mean, you're here, right? And I want you guys to stay. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm so glad you're here. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button if you like this video, leave a comment below, subscribe, and hit that bell so you catch all my new videos when they come out, which is like 4 times a week. So you got lots of options. All right, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.